Hey, I'm Matt Monero. This is Judge Graham. We're in the studio here in Dallas, Texas, and we're talking about the AC Bootcamp. What makes the AC Bootcamp so different than everything else is because it's incredibly tactical. And what Judge and I thought we would do is record a video for you to get an idea of everything that you're going to get at the bootcamp. And so this video is going to take a little bit of time, but we want you to stick around and watch it because everything we're going to teach you at the Attack and Conquer Bootcamp lives in the video today. So you doing all right?
I'm doing great, man.
Dude, we worked incredibly efficient and with speed yesterday in building out the new site. Was that awesome or what?
It was amazing, right? I mean, being able to, live that core value speed and knock that out. If you guys are watching this video on the website, I hope you enjoy the new one. But the beautiful thing about it is we did that in one day.
It was a pleasure to watch you work too. I mean, you know, the way you managed a group of people, we had 6, I think, in the Money Lab, digging into it, and for to watch you organize it, lay it out, and make sure that you were tapping everybody at the right time was a pleasure to see, dude. It was awesome. You did a great job, man. It was killer. So let's get into it, Judge. For everybody to understand exactly what you'll get at the Attack and Conquer Bootcamp, no guessing for you. No questions should be still open after you watch this video and you read the site, because we believe we've answered every question that you could possibly have.
100%.
Let's talk about the big concept of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
We're talking about burning the ships. And why do you think we have the domain burntheships.com? It's because we believe most businesses have an element in which they have to burn the ships. Now, for some people, that means you need to torch your business. Totally. I mean, you need to truly rebuild your business. But the other definition that we have at Attack and Conquer is we believe it's time to burn the ship, and the ship is your plan B. You need to go all in with your plan A. This goose that lays the golden egg, this business that you've worked so hard to create, needs to go to the next level. And we believe the only way you get it to the next level is to burn the ships, cancel your plan B, and get totally committed on your plan A, which is getting this goose that lays the golden egg, this business, to the next level. And that's going to help your employees. It's going to help yourself. It's going to help your vendors. It's going to help your clients. And let's be straight about it. It's going to help your family too, man.
Yeah, you've been doing this so long. You've committed, but you haven't got the reward. You haven't got that next level. Matt and I have put this together because we want to change the face of small businesses. We want to show you there's a better way, there's a proven way, there's a framework in order to do that, and that's what we're doing at the event.
That's called burning the ships, because when you start to get to the next level in your business through scale, through culture, through revenue growth, through profit growth, through the ability to start saying to yourself, wait a minute, I got something here that actually might have a saleability to it. You got to understand that the game of business changes. It starts to be more like the game of chess and not like checkers. Yeah. Checkers is the easier of the two games. Chess is the more complicated, the more strategic, and that's why we use this term, start to play as if it's chess and not checkers in your business.
Yeah, and so many of us get into that business, and checkers becomes the default, right? Because it's, do you have a minute? Everything's a fire. There's never a thoughtful plan. There's never the right structure, the right people, the right seats, the right value proposition, all of those things. You're in the urgent of the current, right? Or the current of the urgent.
Yeah.
And that's the issue.
You're just spinning cycles. You go back. Monday is the same as last Monday, is the same as the Monday before, because you don't see 3 or 4 moves down. That's the key to chess, the ability to see 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 moves before the move you're about to make.
Yeah, and you start settling with, that a boy with a 5% growth or a 10% growth. Right, that's not moving the needle.
And we talk about that at the bootcamp. We actually structurally tell you what we think at certain revenue numbers your growth rate should be. I don't know no one's teaching that.
Right.
Where did you ever go to learn how, if I have $5 million in sales, what should I be expecting my growth rate to be?
There's no school, there's no class. I mean, listen, if you want to seek out, I always talk about advice versus counsel, right? Typically, advice is well intended, but it's bad. You're getting that from a loved one. You're getting it from a brother-in-law, someone that hasn't done or achieved what you want or more. Seek out counsel. Matt and I have done it. Yeah. We understand the pain, but we also understand the pleasure now, and we've taken that body of work and we've mapped out the roadmap, and we're going to share it with you.
So we're going to get into specifically what you're going to learn at the Attack and Conquer Bootcamp. We don't want you to have any questions. We don't want you to feel as though, am I really going to get value from this thing? Is it worth my time, my energy, my money? So let's get into what we give out of day one. The first thing you're going to get at 8 o'clock on day one is you're going to get the results of your predictive index test. And why that is so important, and we've seen it at the other bootcamp,
Huge.
was you really don't know who you are. You really don't know what your DNA as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a leader is until you test it. You think you know it.
Right.
But we give you this super simple test. You'll take it before the boot camp starts, and we'll give you the results at the boot camp, and you will be blown away by how accurate it is and what it begins to tell you. Because what it begins to tell you is who you are, how you communicate, what your strengths and what your weaknesses are, but most importantly, how other people in your organization perceive you.
Right.
You think your organization perceives you differently than they really do. You actually think you're dropping a nugget when you bop in and say, hey, let me tell you how you guys should do this, right?
Yeah.
You know, the way we used to do it is this way, right? No, you're doing it wrong. Let me tell you, I'll save you all some time. Let me tell you how to do it. You don't realize the chaos that is creating in your organization until you understand your DNA as an entrepreneur. That one element alone is worth the price of the event.
Yeah, you learn how to become a better leader, and then we encourage everyone in your team should take this test.
Yes.
Right? And they should have it up in their area before you just go at somebody, like you understand who they are as an individual and how they're going to be motivated and demotivated.
You know what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
You know the example we just gave you that you and I have done 100 times each is something that you're still probably doing in your organization. You think you're helping when really what you're doing is you're ripping it apart, you're destroying momentum, you're destroying confidence, and the minute you leave that meeting, everybody in the meeting says, guy's a freaking lunatic.
Right. Well, how much money have you lost on making the wrong hire?
Totally.
This starts with the interview process, and we're going to get into core values, but Matt and I are going to teach you how to make the right hire because you're not even cognizant of what the wrong hire is costing you.
So that's done by 8:30 in the morning. Then we go into what we call the rhythm or chaos test, in which you test yourself in your ability to lead and manage and delegate. Super simple test. You'll take your score at the end, and most people will score in the 30 to 40 range on this. And it really is this litmus test, and it really is an eye-opening experience when you realize that you're not as good as you thought you were. Now, conversely, you might score very highly on that, which is awesome. It begins to reinforce that you're on the right path, but we don't believe you can gut feel if you want to play chess in business. You want to play checkers in business, you can run off emotion and gut feeling and all that sort of stuff. We think you should test it.
Amen.
And we give you the two primary tests, the PI test and the rhythm and chaos test. All of it is done by 9 o'clock on day one.
Yeah, and it gives you something to understand where you're weak and where you're strong and to start improve, right? Until you take that test, you don't know.
Yep. The third element of this concept of who you are as a leader, which is how it's fundamentally step one of the Attack and Conquer Bootcamp, is for you to understand where are you operating. Because here's the thing that goes on in business. If we're starting from zero, when we get to 3x of zero, things start to get better. But nobody ever gets to 10x. Nobody ever stays in the fight and continues to push and improve and get better to ever get to 10x. So most people end up stopping at like a 3 or a 4 or a 5. And the business has so much more to go, and you as the leader have so much more to give it and extract from it when you understand what level are you operating at. And that's the third component of the who are you as a business leader, all of it done by 10 o'clock on day one.
Yep.
We then go into your existing challenges and opportunities, and you will literally write them out. I think it's one of the big takeaways of the Attack and Conquer mindset is that we force the audience to do the work.
Yeah.
It's not just Judge and I talking from up front in the room. We're actually forcing you to use your workbook and fill stuff out. And the challenges and opportunities page is one of those things. You're going to write down the things that are biggest challenges and the things that are the biggest opportunities that you're facing currently in your business, and we're going to critique you.
Yeah, when's the last time you've gone to an event, or even on the website of the event, they just give you an overview of the people speaking. This is real. This is an intimate 20-person event. Again, watch the testimonials. game changing. Matt and I are building these things with you.
Yeah.
And I think the important thing, Matt, that we haven't touched on is everything that we do has a sequence because it builds onto the final. And everything maps back together and everything becomes tight and simple, and it's the power of the plan.
It's a great point. What you need to learn is you have to trust us. When you come to the Attack Conquer Bootcamp, you have to trust that the process that we've built the bootcamp out in is the right process for you to think. So we cover who you are, your challenges, and your opportunities. Then we move into mapping out your personal and business endgame. It's amazing when we do this, Judge, how few people truly understand what they want at the end of this entrepreneurial journey.
When do they want it? Why do they want it?
How much do they want?
Yeah.
Right? Why do they want? How much do they want?
Right.
You're going to build out your personal and your business end game with our help. All of it happens by 11 o'clock on day one of the Attack and Conquer Bootcamp. Then Judge does an incredible job of discussing your competitive analysis. This is where we move into the second phase of the bootcamp, which is understanding who you're competing against and who you are and how your company is viewed in the marketplace. So you'll do your competitive analysis before you come to the event, and Judge and I will review it. We want to know who are your biggest competitors, whether they're the behemoth in the marketplace or just the next closest to you in your community. We want you to figure that out, and we want you to determine what are they doing well, what are they not doing well, and therefore how can you begin to craft your market leader content and your niche to beat those guys.
Yeah, where are they strong, where are you weak, vice versa, where can you capitalize? You can't get better until you fully understand the competition, and so we start there.
Yeah. And then we move into the market leader positioning component, which is what type of content do you have, testimonials, reviews, literature, product knowledge, that you can push to your potential customer base to position you as the leader in the marketplace, because that drives to the next step, which is the niche will get you rich. And judges preach this, and I completely agree with it, that most people are generalists. And generalists in today's marketplace are amateurs, and amateurs get crushed and experts get paid. Amen. So it's better to be an expert in your niche than to be an amateur as a generalist. And we're going to force that out of you by creating what we call our niche tagline. What makes you different in the marketplace so you can compete better with those behemoths?
And we push back hard, right? It has to be right. And some of this may sound simple. We make it simple, but we push to get it right.
And you haven't done this. And we're not bashing you on it. We're just exposing the fact that so much of what we teach at the boot camp is just not something you've taken the time to do. And you have to when you move to chess instead of playing checkers.
Absolutely. So we're still in day one, and then we're going to get into, I think, what is probably one of the biggest topics for us, the importance of this growth culture, right? So what are you doing? And we're going to talk about core values and things here in a second, but a growth culture. Are you committed to growing? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to the organization? How are you going to operate differently? How are you going to compensate differently against growth? How are you going to tie compensation and incrementality to customer success? So we're going to dive deep into that. Then we're going to get into the 7 deadly business habits, right? So these are the 7 things that any organization, if you're doing this and it's happening, it can kill your business. Yeah. And I mean, it will. It's talking and bullshit. I mean, we're going to double click into some of this here in a little bit. But when we go through this, you guys, it's happening. And the amount of time being lost around those and morale and revenue is crazy.
Yeah.
Then we're going to get into mission statement creation, right? As an organization, you may have something on the wall from 15 years ago, but do you really live in it?
What do you stand for?
Yeah.
Man?
Well, how's it, bringing value to your team and the customer? If the mission statement doesn't do that, you're not living it, it's wrong, and it doesn't tie back to the niche. Mm-hmm. So it's time to resurface that. Core value creation. Matt and I believe core values have to be simple, they have to be authentic, and they have to be lived, right? What are the 4 words that embody the organization that you're going to empower your people against, that you're going to benefit the customer against, and you make all your decisions against?
You get the core values right, 90% of your problems that you're dealing with every single day go away. The hiring, the firing, the management, the expectations, the objectives, the KPIs, All of them get realigned.
And Matt and I are going to teach you on not how to just come up with them and put them on paper, but how to freaking live them.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Enterprise value. Listen, if you're not building your company to be in a position to sell, you're missing the joke, right?
Dude, I missed the joke for so long.
So we're going to teach you enterprise value. I've been through this a few times, and we understand what you need to be doing now. If you want to sell your business in 3 years, there's steps you should be taking today on how to optimize that exit, because you're not talking about a few million, you're talking about several, or depending on the size, a lot of money being left on the table if you don't maximize that enterprise value. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to get into customer centricity, right? You can't have a growth culture without focusing on the customer. What does that mean? How do you service the customer different? How do you look at things? How do you move faster, right? How do you over-deliver, right? We're going to deep dive into all of that.
How do you turn every department into a version of a sales department too?
Yeah. Listen, I don't care what company you're in. If you're in this clicker company, Matt and I are telling you you're not in the clicker company. You're a sales and marketing company. We're going to teach you that, and then how to take that sales and marketing company to become customer centric. Recurring revenue. Man, this was such a huge, which baffled me that more people aren't thinking about this, but we're going to get into recurring revenue. We actually have a calculator we've built so you guys can see the power of it. But that predictability in your revenue and the ability to sleep at night because you have with 98% accuracy, knowing a certain amount's going to come in, and what you can do and how that increases enterprise value and allows you to make decisions. We're not only going through deep diving into the concept, we're helping you in the workshop identify and build revenue streams that can be recurring now in your business. Market leader content. All I have to say is go look at burntheships.com, market leader content. We're going to teach you, once we go through and position your niche and how you're going to be the expert, not the generalist, we're then going to teach you how to build assets, credibility assets that turn into external market leader content that give you the ability to sell easier.
To make your customer's decision to do business with you easier.
Seamless, yeah. If you're watching this video, okay, and you've gone to burntheships.com when the new one's launched, and you go through that whole site and you don't take action, then it's simply not for you, because we have given you every single thing and validated everything. And that's what we're going to teach you in the boot camp.
Totally.
Right? And then creating a growth culture environment, right? How do you take those core values and bring them to life in the organization? Then we're going to get into profit optimization. How do you maximize that profit and make more money? And that's all day one.
Yeah. Which then day one finishes with an awesome dinner and networking and cigar and happy hour. All of that, by the way, just as a reminder to everybody watching, all of that is included. I mean, not just the content, but your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, the networking events, the cigars, all the swag, all of that is included in your registration. But then all of that relaxes us for a little bit, and then we come back in day 2, 8 a.m., breakfast 7:30, and we hammer down again on how we take the concepts and start to put it into your plan. And the first thing we begin to build out is how to create annual and quarterly goals. What does the organization need to be working on, not in a year or 2 or 3, now?
Right now.
Right now. It's the biggest problem you have in your business. Everybody is not laser focused on the most important lever to be pulling now.
Yep.
That's the problem, right, Judge?
100%.
We see it over and over and over in our businesses. And if you're watching Burn the Ships, go to the Bill Gates quote that we put on the site and see how we actually disagree with how Bill Gates positions that version of it. So you're going to start to set these annual goals for your people. We're going to create what we have as what we call a start and stop list. Throughout the entire event, you're going to be filling out the things that you commit to stop doing in your organization and the things that you commit to start doing in the organization. In the workbook, it's called the start and stop page. From there, we're going to move to the parking lot, which is now the things that you are doing that you shouldn't be doing anymore. We move them into the parking lot. The parking lot is this holding place for all these incredible ideas that you want to get to down the road. The problem is you're getting to them every minute of every day.
It's too many.
You've got too many things going on. You need to reduce the amount of chaos that exists in the organization, and you do it through focus. And that focus isn't long-term focus. It's short-term focus. Then we move to building out the quarterly action steps that your organization needs to be working on for the next 3 months. Again, this is how you take action quickly and begin to tap the levers that increase revenue, profits, culture, employee happiness, all that sort of stuff. Something really powerful that happens at Attack and Conquer is the next piece, which is the organizational structure, in which we tell you how great companies are built from the board of advisors or board of directors position in an org chart all the way down to the frontline people. And we force you to build out your own org chart.
Current and future against what we're trying to accomplish.
Because then, now that we start to create the goals and we begin to create the Attack and Conquer game plan and roadmap, we now have to begin to assign people within the organization to start to do these things. And that's what you have so much trouble with. You just don't know who's working on what. And so you know what happens? It all falls on your shoulders. And Judge and I are here to tell you that great companies morph from the owner entrepreneur being the mule, the person that carries everything up the hill, to eventually being in a position to delegate to great people that you hired because of your culture and all the other things, so that you can focus on your business at 30,000 feet.
Aren't you tired of being the mule? Right? Like Matt and I've been the mule. It's not fun. And then this builds up to the one-page Attack and Conquer plan. Okay, so this whole thing has a build-up from who you are as a leader to your people, to every step, your culture, your core values, all the things that we've talked about builds up to actually building out this one-page Attack and Conquer plan that clearly defines who you are, what you do it, why people want it, your goals, your objectives, and then how you actually roll this out. Okay? And that gets into, living the core values. We have a concept called the money sheet, 911 meetings, daily alignment and rhythm from the CEO to the intern, the 8 financial things you must measure to optimize your organization, a business health tracker, and on, which we're going to get into a little more.
It's a day and a half, and it is just...
Fire hose.
It's drinking from a fire hose. But for those who want to get to the next level, you simply have to cover these bases. And Judge and I built the content of the Attack and Conquer because we couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah, we couldn't find it anywhere. And man, this is a unique audience, right? We're looking for business owners.
Yep.
You've got to be at least $1 million in revenue to $50 million, right? And because we know that you guys can handle this content and absorb it and start to take action and take that company to the next level.
Yeah, things are beginning to break in your organization at that revenue level.
Yeah.
And you're beginning to say to yourself, man, it's very painful. It's not like I thought it was in the credit card commercials I watched on TV. This is actually hard freaking work. Isn't there a better way to do it? Is this what it's going to be like for the rest of my existence? And we're here to tell you it's not. But you got to start to play chess, no longer play checkers.
Yeah, so let's start. We're going to double click on a couple of these just to go through. Matt, and we talked about the PI test, but let's talk about ours and really what this means.
So what you're looking at here is the personality test that Judge and I have taken, and we'll show the pop-up here for you to get a better view of it. But basically, this is the result of the test that Judge and I took. Now, oddly enough, our predictive index happens to be very, very similar. We're both highly ambitious. We still care about people. We both have virtually no patience. And then it fish hooks, and the D comes back up, which shows our attention to detail. And what we found is many of our attendees to the Attack and Conquer Bootcamp are highly ambitious, but they have a low D. That means their attention to detail doesn't exist. And that's why they have this incredible churning going on, this lack of satisfaction, this starting and stopping, these shiny ball moments in their business all the time. And we're going to teach you who you are, and therefore you will understand why you do the things you do, and also why people interpret you the way they do, because you may not even know that. You may think you're the greatest leader on the planet, and you're creating a freaking mess in the organization.
And how much productivity and revenue is being lost from that? It's astronomical.
Yeah. It's awesome. The predictive index is awesome, and everybody needs it, and we give it to you as part of your registration. So let's move into the next piece, which is your rhythm and chaos test. I'm just going to read a couple of the questions on it so you have a much better idea of exactly what this says. And the first question is, I have no problem delegating objectives within my office. and you're going to score yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. In other words, you're perfectly comfortable with having other people do certain levels of work. It's so vital because the odds are you're terrible at it. And that's why you're not getting the maximum value out of your employee base or your management team. And that's why you're missing the date nights and the soccer games, and you can't sleep well, and you can't take a week or 2 or 3 or 4 week vacation because you don't know how to delegate. We're going to force you to figure out who you are by taking this test.
Yeah, and that leads to this. I mean, how many are this guy? You're on that hamster wheel, right? I mean, you're on the hamster wheel if you can't think about being on the business versus in.
Yeah.
And so many people in that $1 million to $50 million, you're on the hamster wheel. Right? You're just struggling to get by every day, and then if you get 5% and you're flat the next year, you're that a boy. And Matt and I got frustrated with it. I mean, we coach and we have a lot of friends that are in business, and it was the same conversation every year. Well, man, we just got caught up this year, and we got 10%. It's bullshit.
How'd you do on those goals?
Yeah.
We started out really strong, but we just didn't finish very well.
You didn't have a structure, didn't have the framework, didn't have the culture, and you weren't committed. You didn't burn the ships. Come to this event and burn the ships with us.
I love how Judge handles the next one. Judge, take it here in building out your end game.
So most of us, we get into business out of passion, right? And we start growing a little bit and we make a little money, and we've always had this idea in the back of our head of why we became entrepreneurs or why we became business owners, and then you get caught in the current and you never stop off that hamster wheel and think about, why am I in this business? Why am I giving up my kids' soccer games, date nights, my health, all these things? Why am I doing it? And so what we do is we force you to map out your personal end game, right? I mean, do you have a health component, a family component, a charity component, right? Do you want a liquidity event? What material things do you want? And why do you want those? And more importantly, what's the date? Because if you don't put a date and you don't have an owner, it's not real. And then you've got to map that to the business. And the reason Matt and I force this is because it's a gut check. Are you in the right business? Are your expectations out of line? Maybe you're closer than you think.
Could be,
but it's time now to stop thinking, oh, I want that Lamborghini, or I want to buy an island, or whatever it is. What do you want? Why do you want it? When do you want it? How do we map it to the business? And then we're going to set the goals to help map back to what you want, why you want, and when you want it.
This is a whiteboard moment for us, where we go to the whiteboard and we ask somebody in the group, how much you want to make next year. I want to make $1 million. Great. We're going to map it out for you right now. We're going to show you how much revenue you need to do after taxes. We'll take your profit margin, and we'll figure out exactly how much money you need to have your business generating for you to take that $1 million. And then we're going to force you to figure out, why $1 million? Maybe you don't need $1 million. Maybe you need $500,000. Or by the way, maybe if you have this, goal for a $20 million net worth, well, $1 million a year is probably not going to get you there.
Right.
We need more.
Right.
And we map that out on the whiteboard for you to see it. And then we force you to do the exercise. This one is one of the most powerful exercises we do.
Well, Matt and I actually show you how to get to the goal. I mean, that exercise right there, Matt, this is what you have to make. This is the margin. This is what the tax looks like.
Yeah.
This is how much you have to be generating per day. Okay, so now you got to go, okay, how do I build the right level of activities in order to hit that? Do I have the right team? I mean, it all ties together.
Right, and it also is very impactful for people that are in partnerships, because when you got to split it 2 ways or 3 ways, it's heavily diluting of your roadmap to your end game.
Yeah.
So everything has to be amplified when you've got partners.
Totally. Okay, and then we get into one of the biggest deliverables, which we call the OPACP, which is your one-page attack and conquer plan. All right, and I'm just going to briefly talk on these elements. So you've got one section, who, what, why. This is who you are, what you do, why you do it, what proof do you have. This starts to define, and Matt and I, we push on this one, right? This is how you define the niche, and we push back, like, who's the market, what's the revenue,
what are they doing well?
What are they doing well? What's the serve? I mean, everybody in your organization should be able to have this on a sheet and be able to clearly state what you do. I would bet, whatever amount of money I could walk in your organization right now and I'd ask 5 people what you do and I'd get 5 different answers. That's a freaking problem.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it's not niche. We're going to force you to rethink that. And we're going to do that with you. Then we're going to get in the niche tagline. Once we have that figured out, we're going to map that into that niche tagline. Within seconds, people have to understand that. Okay? We're living in a digital age and you have a nanosecond to communicate what you do. Then we're going to get into goals and actions, right? After we talk about how to properly set those goals, we're going to then start assigning an annual goal. That annual goal breaks down into quarterly objectives that have clear owners and dates. Those objectives break down into monthly activities, weekly activities, and daily activities that we all can measure.
I love how you term this, Judge. It's getting closer to one neck to choke.
Yeah.
And that might be construed as negative, but the reality is who within the organization is now fully responsible for the objective. And what happens in most businesses, regardless of the size, is when the objective is missed, it just defaults back to the owner.
Yeah, there's nowhere to hide. We create accountability and nowhere to hide through systems, rhythms, process, and clarity.
Yeah.
And that's key. I mean, right now you're assigning something to multiple people. Who's had this? I know you have. Hey, I need to get this done. Okay, hey, Billy and Steve, you guys got it, right? Yeah, we got it. When's it going to be due? 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Guess what? 2 weeks comes and goes. Oh, well, Billy, I thought Steve had that piece. Or, I couldn't get this. I got sidetracked or whatever. 2 weeks turns into 4 weeks. 4 weeks turns into 2 months. 2 months turns into accepting something that you never really wanted or you wanted and you never got.
You lowered your expectations because you don't know how to delegate and manage people.
Yeah, and that's just scratching the surface on what we fix here. Growth core values, Matt and I touched on that. Mission statement, we touched on that. And then now, you know what the greatest thing that Matt and I committed to do when we built this? We said, you know what, people are missing the right plan, but that's not good enough. So we're going to build the plan, but more importantly, we're going to show you how to execute it, how to measure it every day. We're going to provide you the framework, the tools to literally do that. And we call that all day, every day.
All day, every day, baby.
All day, every day. You're going to have a piece of software that tracks your vital signs that you should be measuring. We're going to show you how to run and operate daily meetings. We're going to show you how to build the org chart for scale. We're going to show you frameworks that allow you to hold people accountable, have the tough conversations, live the core values.
It's so much.
Yeah, I mean, it's the difference, right? There's nothing like this that exists. Watch the testimonials. Look at it. This thing is a plan in how you do it. Matt and I set it up for it's an all-day Thursday thing. It's a half-day Friday. We want you back home with your family on the weekend. We want you recalibrating on Saturday and Sunday, and we want you hitting it hard on Monday.
Yeah, and you're going to hit it hard off of a one-page document that you built at our event. This is what you're focusing on for the next 3 months to 6 months to 9 months to 12 months. Just this one page. Not all the little sticky notes that you have on your desk, if you even have those, or it's all packed in your head. We're going to lay it out onto a piece of paper for you, for everybody in the organization to see effective Monday when you come back.
That maps back to exactly what you want when you want it and why you want it. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Then we talk into competitive analysis. Matt mentioned that. We're going to give you guys homework. We're going to explain exactly what you need to do. But Matt and I believe every 90 days you should be evaluating your competitors, getting better, getting more market leader content. This is going to help us define the who, what, and why better to understand vulnerabilities and opportunities. You want to go into this? Kind of, this is one of your favorite things.
It is. This is Judge's 7 Deadly Business Habits. It's absolutely one of my favorite that we talk about because people, particularly entrepreneurs, they fall victim of this. They think they're communicating in this wonderfully effective way, and the reality is that it's going in one ear and out the other for your employees. And you don't realize the shrapnel until you lay it out in these 7 deadly habits. If these things are going on in your organization, you're in deep shit. It's very, very disastrous. You've got to get this stuff addressed, and you got to get a handle on it. So we go through the 7 deadly sins. We're not going to go through it on the video today, but it's a very, very powerful piece, especially when we flip it around and drive it back to the core values and company
100%.
culture.
Yeah. Core values, we touched on that a lot, but I mean, let's read ours. I mean, Matt, here's the other thing. Listen, if you don't believe in our core values, you're not right for our event. I mean, that's how much Matt and I love and live these core values. Here's the other great thing. Matt and I have built this business on the one-page Attack and Conquer.
We did.
But everything that we've done for this business is what we're teaching you. So we are literally practicing what we preach.
It was important to us. We said it has to be proof of
We showed in the
concept.
thing.
We did. We show you our OPACP, our core values, our mission statement, all of it. We show you how it exists within the Attack and Conquer framework for ourselves, so you get a better understanding of how to put it into play for yours.
Yeah, and a big thing we haven't talked about is we're going to show you how to move fast, to operate with speed, to start expecting. Listen, when you can start moving fast and your organization gets conditioned to fast becoming average, right? Your average becomes other companies excelling, okay? And then if you push average in your organization to even faster, right, you're just leapfrogging. And so Matt and I are going to teach you that. It's one of our core values. I'm going to read these because these are very important to us. Speed, all day, every day. Profit, we believe money is a great thing. Listen, if you don't believe money is a great thing, you shouldn't come to this event.
Great is capitalized and bold in our core values.
Yeah, because we are here to build growth cultures that generate revenue because we know that money can do great things. Strategy, we play chess, not checkers, right? Everything that we do is about anti-hamster wheel and progressing using proven frameworks and tactics that build scale. And then impact, we believe success serves all.
You need to make an impact with your business. You have a greater impact as an entrepreneur than you realize. The impact on your employees' lives, in your clients' lives, in your vendors' lives, in your own life. The entrepreneurial magic is something that I think most entrepreneurs really don't understand. They don't really have a tangible feel of how much of an impact entrepreneurship can make.
It's huge. You're a business owner. You're responsible for everybody's livelihood, their families, their kids, college education, car payments, right? You better get on the program of profit, right?
Yeah, but what's happening, Judge, is most people are taking the money from their organization and applying it to other people and not leaving enough for themselves. And that creates so much pressure at home. And I lived that with the rocker saying, did we pay ourselves today? The rocker tapping on it. How we doing, baby? You told me it was going to get better, right, baby? I mean, you made me promise you that I'd support you in this entrepreneurial journey. When's that payoff, honey? And you know your spouse is asking you the same thing. They want to know when the end game becomes real and no longer just this thing that you keep promising. It's a big deal, man.
It's huge.
So let's get into the next phase of this as we begin to wrap this all up so you begin to understand. One of the massive takeaways for our audience is when we show you the enterprise value, truly what is your organization worth? Who might buy it? And if so, what might they pay for it? What kind of valuation are you creating?
What do you need to do?
And if you're not creating much value, which by the way, it's really important. Most entrepreneurs think that just because they hang the shingle and they get business cards, they've been in business for a while, they have a sellable business. And Judge has experienced it at a very, very, very high level. The reality is if you got a couple $100,000 a year spitting off at the bottom line, your business isn't that valuable. It really needs to be in the 7-figure net profit range before someone, a real quality buyer who's willing to pay up for it, takes notice of you. And you know, Judge, you and I have talked about this. It's not 6-figure profits, it's 7-figure profits. So if that's the case, if that's chess and you're playing checkers, let us help you figure out how to create enterprise value by playing chess. Okay, so you got to be in a position to sell. How do you be in a position to sell? You create a customer-centric organization that cares about the customer, so you get tremendous return business because it's so much less expensive to do another deal with a customer than the first deal.
100%.
Right? It's like, just think of it from a research and development standpoint. You've manufactured the product, you drove it down the assembly line, you shipped it, maybe you didn't make anything on the first widget that you pushed out, but the second and the third and the fourth is where your margin is. You have to have the customers coming back to you.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Then we're getting the market leader content that we talked about, the creating of this growth culture, the recurring revenue. Judge has a calculator, judgegraham.com.
It's on the next slide.
Okay, great. You have to understand, it doesn't have to be massive. It just has to start. What would happen if you created a $99 a month program, put it into Judge's calculator at the end of 3 years, not just from a cash flow standpoint, but an enterprise value increase standpoint. Recurring revenue could add 3 or 4 or 5x to the value of your organization. That's talking about going from a 5x valuation to maybe a 10x valuation because you have real legitimate recurring revenue.
Yeah, so this is a screenshot, and we'll put in the URL in this video. But this is a free resource. Literally put in a cost that you would sell, how many you can sell monthly, and it calculates the compounding of what that looks like. You're going to be shocked how much money, if you have a product that's $99 a month, you're selling a couple hundred of them a month, and by year 3, the kind of money you're going to be kicking off.
I want to go back and talk about this just for a second because it's not all just about these massive deep dives. There is fun to it.
And great networking too. I mean, people are doing deals at our thing.
But look, everyone in the audience has to be doing $1 million or more in revenue. These are established business owners that are on a high growth trajectory. These are hashtag like-minded people. And we get together on Thursday night, Texas barbecue dinner, cigar event, open bar, happy hour on the patio, having a great time where we just get to decompress for a little bit and begin to enjoy the networking and the opportunities to meet new people and talk about all the things that are going on in our business in a very transparent way.
Yeah.
Because the thing that aggravates me the most at these events is everybody BS's everybody.
Yeah.
At our event, everybody begins to tell the damn truth on that Thursday night.
Yeah, and it's super personal. We got so much feedback. Matt and I were very thoughtful in what we put together, right? There's a lot of personal touches. There's a lot of things that people it's 20 people at this event.
It's first class, too.
It's total first class. You get to know everybody. You get real one-on-ones with Matt and I. We really do the work. It's not just this mindset with 150 people. Mm-hmm. You're actually building relationships that we actually then convert over to an ongoing relationship, right? I mean, this is building this kind of brotherhood.
Mm-hmm. It's a tribe. And, we have our Alpha group, which was the first of the group. Every group has its own military type nomenclature, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. And we really play on that and we really make people feel that they are part of something unique, which they are.
And then the thing we talk about is how do you get alignment from the CEO to the intern? And so we have this structure. It could be over 1,000-person organization. We're going to show you literally within an hour or so within your organization or less, most organizations less, how you're aligned in a rhythm from the CEO to the intern on the day's activities that drive to the quarterly action, that drive to the annual goal that you can measure and you can evaluate the next day, and there's nowhere to hide.
And we're taking this from the executive ownership to the executive management team to your frontline people, all the way down to literally the intern, who's the newest person in your organization, how everybody is aligned to what's going on.
Yeah, now they feel like they're a part of the team. They have purpose. They know how they're contributing, and you're able to measure it. Mm-hmm. Right, so imagine in your organization, there's a stat, we don't have it in here, but on average, 70+% of people are walking zombies. Why are they walking zombies? Because you don't have a freaking plan. You don't have alignment. You don't have purpose. You don't have a culture. You don't have a system to measure it. Imagine if you had 100% of your tribe every day in line, in rhythm, hitting and working towards exceeding that activity that laddered up to the annual goal that you could then turn around and measure that day. That's the difference. That is chess, not checkers.
Judge, it's the passion that we have for this. It's get you off this hamster wheel of you having to lower your expectations because you just haven't built out the right business.
Right.
And so you still work with people who you dislike and who dislike you, who talk crap about your organization, who when you leave the meeting, they say, I don't believe what he said. They don't know that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Really? Maybe he's right. Maybe you don't know what the hell you're talking about. But when you have a game plan and a roadmap, at least you do know what you're talking about. Hey, and by the way, you get empowered to say, listen, maybe it's not the right place for you because we know it's the right place for us.
Amen. Then we get into, we literally give you a piece of software. I think people are blown away with this piece of software too, right? I mean, this tracks 8 critical things that you have to be measuring in your business.
It's killer.
And it's all customized. It all has pivot tables. And we literally give it to you. It's a deliverable that comes with this. We've got an 18-minute video explaining how you can work it, change it. And It's amazing. And then there's much, much more.
I mean, then you get all the sidebar commentary, you get the whiteboard stuff, you get the real life examples that Judge and I have lived, you get this Q&A session where you ask the question and we answer it. And then you really get accountability too from both the two of us and the group. The group begins to create its own accountability and bounce ideas off each other and throw out solutions to these problems. It's truly the best day and a half, not to mention the greatest value you could possibly get. And we believe in it so much that we created a money-back guarantee.
Yeah, it's a 100% money-back guarantee. No one's asked for it. Actually, I think it's the video below this video on burntheships.com. We have several people saying on camera, we wish we would have paid much more.
Yeah, it was worth much more.
Much more. So one, there's a 100% money-back guarantee. I think the other thing, too, that Matt and I are so passionate about is, listen, we're real guys. We're real entrepreneurs. We've been at the lowest lows and the highest highs, and we've lived through it. And Matt and I have hit these financial targets. And for he and I now, it's about purpose. It's about legacy. We see a freaking problem in small business, right? There isn't a roadmap. This isn't being taught anywhere. And if you're tired of going to hype, hashtag hustle, hashtag grind events where you're not getting real content with real business owners in an intimate setting that you can walk away with a real framework that's going to change your business, then come to ours because we're going to.
That's why we did the video. That's why burntheships.com has so much content on it to answer your questions, to give you the confidence that you're making the right decision, to trust Judge and I with your time and your money. We just simply think it's the best program ever created, and we're on the front of it. We're on the beginning stages of it, and you get to be part of this incredible journey that we're on with Attack and Conquer Bootcamps and burntheship.com. So, dude, happy to be riding it with you, man.
Amen. Thank you, guys. Reserve your spot, burntheships.com. And as always, make it happen.
Pull the trigger.